Hello and welcome everyone to today's Commodities Corner presented by myself, Phil Carr, at the Gold and Silver Club. So during today's session, we will of course be covering live market analysis. We'll go through a watch list of trade ideas, a forecast where we expect gold, silver, crude oil, and also the commodity currencies to be heading next. Of course, we'll also be answering questions and providing live support. So before we get into it, let me introduce you to the Gold and Silver Club. The Gold and Silver Club is regarded as the go-to authority on commodities trading. As internationally respected experts, our analysis and our opinions on the metals, energies, and the agricultural markets, they're routinely sought by major financial television channels and publications, which include Bloomberg, Reuters, CNBC, the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, and over the last 10 years, myself and my team of experts, we have trained and mentored thousands of private traders from all over the world on our exclusive research-driven strategies. For further information on our services, please do go to www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. I would also encourage you as well to go over, if you haven't done so already, to make sure that you are subscribed to via our YouTube channel. We've just put out a very comprehensive report over the course of the weekend, which gives our forecast for gold, silver, platinum, and also crude oil for the week ahead. I've just shared that link in the chat there with you. So do make sure you go across to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to all of the latest updates in the market. Okay, great stuff. So with that, let's get into it. We'll go straight over to, I'll take you over to Reuters, and we'll also go through the news flow at the moment. We've got a few trades which are running right now, and I'll talk you through really what we're looking at in terms of the flow today and some of the trade opportunities that we see lining up at the moment. So let's just bring you over to my screen so we can just share that with you. Just bear with me for a second as we load that up. Okay, just a quick check-in, guys. You can also see my screen now and you can hear me okay. Yeah, fantastic. Apologies about that. Took a little bit longer than it should have for an update just to go through, but you should be able to see my screen okay now. Okay, fantastic. So let's just go through some of the flow of what we're seeing right now. And the main focus, what I'm looking at right now, is I'm looking at gold, I'm looking at silver, I'm looking at platinum, and I'm looking at oil in terms of the commodities. We're looking at the commodity currencies, which includes Australian dollar, US dollar, New Zealand dollar, US dollar, the US dollar CAD. We're looking at the majors such as the euro, the pound, and also we're looking at the US dollar, Japanese yen, and the US dollar, Swiss franc. So right now, the flow as of just after 4 o'clock London time is we're seeing a little bit of a pullback right now on the pound or the Australian dollar, silver today as well. And we're seeing relative strength today on the euro. The dollar is slightly down on today as well. It's about down 0.09% on the day. The euro has broken back above the 1.14 handle. The Canadian dollar, US dollar CAD is up on the day at the moment, although I believe that's probably going to reside in a retrace opportunity. The US dollar, Japanese yen at the moment is also under some pressure as well. Overall, I'm expecting the flow to be negative for the dollar. So that should be negative for the US dollar, Japanese yen, US dollar, Swiss franc, and US dollar CAD. And we're expecting the potential for support to come in later on this week on the FOMC statement in particular for the metals. So on Wednesday, it's a very important news item that you just want to have in your diary. So that, of course, is going to be the FOMC statement on Wednesday at 7 o'clock London time. Gold on Friday had a very significant move. So it moved over 200 points on the day, found support at 1,283 US dollars per ounce and broke out to 7-month highs back above $1,300. And for the most part, it is holding above that level right now. Gold's consolidating after those gains from last week. So it is trading at the 7-month highs. We do have higher targets at the moment for gold, especially if we do see gold get going on Wednesday's FOMC statement. So just bear in mind, a lot of traders are waiting for that this week on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we have non-farm payrolls. So this week will probably be quite a choppy trade, but that can be quite lucrative for shorter term day trades, particularly if you have a look at some of the flow that we're seeing right now, certainly with some of the FX trades that we're seeing and the commodity currencies right now, there's some good opportunities, in my opinion, to be had on those at the moment. So let's just go over to that, and I'll show you on the weekly charts first of all. So for example, right now we're seeing dollar weakness. I'm just showing you the weekly chart at the moment for the US dollar Japanese yen. And I do see the potential for this to roll over. We're at the 109.27 zone right now. We've entered into a sell short from higher levels. I do see the potential for the US dollar Japanese yen to roll over back towards the 109 level and possibly back towards this next major level here, which is residing in approximately 108.93. So I'm looking, certainly for today, I'm looking at US dollar Japanese yen weakness and US dollar weakness in general. So that can be traded via the US dollar Japanese yen, although I would also look at the US dollar Swiss franc, which has now produced a rejection candle last week. Again, we've got pressure on the dollar, particularly from Friday, following on from the European Central Bank announcement. We certainly have weakness at the moment with the US dollar Swiss franc. I'm showing you the weekly chart because it gets rid of a lot of the noise that you get day to day on the daily. And you can see I'm using fairly clean charts here, just looking at the price action. We've got much more detailed charts, but then if you take it out higher time frame, especially on a Monday, you'll just get a good sense of where the flow is going to be for the week. And at the moment, I see the potential short term for US dollar weakness to take advantage of these sell shorts on US dollar Japanese yen, US dollar Swiss franc, and we're even looking for that sell short opportunity on US dollar CAD from a retrace entry point of view. So we've already seen the weekly lows broken. In my opinion, we've got a bit of a head and shoulders pattern here with a lot of resistance around the 1.34 handle, which is where we were traced to last week. And I would see this as a potential retrace before the next move lower. We've already broken through the weekly lows. We didn't want to catch it right at the weekly lows. We wanted to get a better entry. So for the US dollar crosses, for the majors there, I do see weakness on those. Then if you go over to the euro, well, the euro we had a long position on earlier on this morning. We've closed out of that around the time where we saw Mario Draghi was going to be speaking this afternoon. But now if you have a look at that on the weekly charts, it's broken back above the 1.14 handle. It's at 1.1431 at the moment. The momentum is positive. The euro, for the most part, will move inversely to the dollar. So the dollar selling off right now would likely provide more support to the euro and also likely for gold as well. So the momentum for the euro right now is bullish. If we look at the Australian dollar, US dollar, well, at the moment, we're seeing a bit of a pullback to support at the 0.716 handle. And I would see that being a fairly major level. I don't have any positions on this commodity currency at the moment. In fact, I will wait a little bit, probably look for trade opportunities around the FOMC statement. It's been quite choppy of late, although it did finish the week fairly bullish on Friday with the breakout that we saw on gold breaking out back towards 7-month highs. So the Australian dollar, US dollar, it's a bit range bound right now. Ultimately, if gold does break out later on in the week, I would expect this to get some degree of support. But for me today, it's a bit muted. New Zealand dollar, US dollar as well. It finished with a fairly strong close on Friday. Got a bullish engulfing candle on Friday. This week, we've broken above the highs there, the weekly highs. It's pulling back a little bit at the moment. Being a commodity currency, again, you would expect it to have some correlation, certainly with gold. We saw a bit of a pullback from gold overnight, but it is finding support back above 1300. But for me right now, I'm waiting for new trade setups to determine on the commodity currencies right now where the next entries will be on those. So for example, Australian dollar, US dollar, if it holds around 0.715 handle, it could be a retrace entry there for a long, but I'm waiting on confirmation on that. I'm also looking very closely here as well at the potential, certainly on oil this week. So if we have a look, that's Brent. Let's just go over to WTI crude oil as well. There you are. Right. Okay. So oil right now, I'm looking around this zone. You can see it's trading around 51.83 and 52 US dollars per barrel has been a major zone over the last week. You've got a head and shoulders pattern. I'm looking for a retest of 51 to 52 US dollars per barrel, which is where we are at the moment. And I'm looking for evidence that support will come in at this level. So we've been ricocheting really between about 51, about 80, well, actually where we're at the moment, up to around 55, or actually just below 55, up to around 54 US dollars per barrel. We've been ricocheting between those levels for a couple of weeks now. And where oil is positioned right now, We've got the oil inventories data, which will come out on Wednesday. We have the FOMC statement, of course, as well. And we have the API data coming out tomorrow. So my thinking is on oil at the moment. As long as it gets supported, the price below 52 US dollars per barrel is potentially good value. But I need to see some evidence that it is getting supported and it doesn't turn into a bear flag and we don't see a continuation and a breakdown of this level. So what needs to happen is essentially on a closing basis, oil needs to really hold that 51 to 52 US dollar range. If it does hold that range and then forms support, and you can see there's been a lot of support of late here, and I'll zoom it out a bit. We're looking at the weekly chart. If it does hold on to that zone, I would then look for the potential to buy in at this level because it's been such a key level before. It's a previous level of resistance, turn support. But right now, if you buy it right now at this zone, you might be catching the lows, but it is a little bit like catching a falling knife. You want to wait for more confirmation on some of the lower time frames. But I am looking at the low for oil this week to come in at approximately 51 to 52 US dollars per barrel. And I'm looking for a revisit up to around 54 to $54.40 per barrel. Again, if you want more information about that, more going to the fundamentals and so forth, I would encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you watch the recent weekly commodity report. We've gone into our forecast in a lot more detail on there as well. But where we're at the moment, below 52 US dollars per barrel, if it gets as low as about 51, it could be a good zone to look for buy orders, only on confirmation though that we are holding around that level. If we actually move over to Brent crude oil, you've got a similar formation here where it's pulling back at the moment on the daily, back below 60 US dollars per barrel. So I'm watching that closely. Now, moving over to gold. If we have a look at gold on the weekly here, gold had a very strong close on Friday. In fact, last week in general, we finally had a resolution where gold has been consolidating and ricocheting between support at about 1275 up to 1300 or just below it. Last week, we finally broke and closed above that level. It is building support above 1295. So that was the previous level of resistance, which is providing support now. And it seems to be springboarding above that level. It's doing well, actually, gold to hold above 1300. The next major target I've got is 1308 for gold. And today's retrace has been minimal. But bear in mind, we've got an FOMC statement on Wednesday, but the US dollar is a bit weak today. But it does seem to be holding now above 1300. We've talked about this for quite a while, where we've been waiting for gold to be able to break and close above 1300. In fact, even if you go over to the monthly chart here for gold, it looks pretty solid there. It looks certainly like we could have more upside over the course of this week. I expect Wednesday's FOMC statement could be the catalyst for this. So I'm looking for another move higher, but I would like to ideally get a better entry in order to add more positions on. I don't really want to chase the move when it's around the 1303, 1304 level because the risk reward is a bit compromised. But pullback certainly ahead of the FOMC statement on Wednesday could be good opportunities to look at adding to this overall upward trend. We've had long positions going on this since mid-December. We've capitalized on all of this move to the upside. We've had some great trades. We were in and out of gold 3 times last week. We were long, short, long again on Friday. So basically we were long bank profits at the beginning of last week. We shorted around the ECB announcement, caught another 60 points to the downside. Then we went long. We were long again, bank profits on Friday. And now we're looking at additional opportunities now on gold this week. But we've got FOMC statement Wednesday and also Friday's non-farm payroll. So without a doubt, we'll get some good volatility on the metals over the course of this week. If we have a look at the S&P 500, we've banked profits now on the S&P 500. We were long this last week, and in actual fact, it's coming back towards our supportive range. We're looking at about 2,620 at the lower end of the range and resistance around 2,685. Which basically means we're expecting range-bound trade for this week. But no doubt, Wednesday's FOMC statement, Friday's non-farm payroll will cause quite a lot of volatility on the S&P 500. So in our opinion, this week will be a bit of a consolidation week, moving within about a 60-point range for the S&P 500. So we'll continue to track that over the course of this week. We do still maintain our long position on platinum. That's still up over about 100 points at the moment. That had a really nice breakout on Friday as well. Platinum at the moment for the month of January, it's up about 2.2% so far. Each time platinum drops below $800 per ounce, I see that as a good area of value to be buying into platinum. and we can see at the moment it's trading around 808. Actually, you've got that previous level of resistance, which is providing fairly reasonable support at the moment, around 870 US dollars per ounce. So we've got that very key level at the moment, which is providing some degree of support there at the moment. So we want to see whether we will springboard higher and get the normal follow through that we do tend to see over the month of January and into February as well. So January and February are some of the strongest months of the year for the metals like gold, silver and platinum. That said, you still don't want to FOMO in and chase them when they're at the highs. You want to buy them at good value. So I see platinum as good value when it gets under $800. It's pulling back a bit even today actually, as well, as we're probably seeing some profit taking ahead of Wednesday's FOMC statement, which then brings me on to silver. And we looked at this also on the week ahead report, and essentially the exact levels that we were looking for support to come into silver have provided support here. So going back to the swing lows of around $15.50 to $15.20. We've broken already above Friday's highs here, above the weekly highs. We're holding around $15.71. Essentially what I'd look at going into February here, or last week of January and into February, potentially for a bit of consolidation here up until Wednesday's FOMC statement. If we do blast above $15.90, then silver should be heading back towards $16. If we break and close above $16, that's of course when we can start to move back towards $16.50, and above that, move back towards the $17 level. So we're looking out to see whether we will get that follow through. That said, that needs to provide confirmation. At the moment, we're still holding below resistance at 1590. So what we might see here is silver still coiling. If you look at silver on the monthly chart, it is building up pressure here. You can see where we've been basing over December, January so far as well. I could still see certainly the potential for a move up towards $16. It's very range bound trade action at the moment on silver, and it's springboarding from the lows there that it found going back towards the November lows here, where it broke temporarily below the $14 level, but it's definitely finding support at those zones at the moment. So we'll continue to watch silver, but higher time frames suggest if silver can clear above $15.90, that is where it could really start to get going to the upside. So that's really what we're looking at on the commodities. If we have a look at also the pound US dollar as well this week, the pound US dollar did break out towards the highest levels in about 7 months last week. Particularly last week was a very solid move. So we had quite a significant breakout to the upside, but we're holding around resistance at the moment, just around the 1.32 handle. And you can see where that's holding at the moment, forming an inside candle on the daily chart here too. So probably we'll get resolution on this on the FOMC statement on Wednesday. Friday's non-farm payroll. I've not got any new positions on the pound at the moment. I'm waiting for a bit of a resolution. My favorite trades right now are more in terms of bearish for the US dollar CAD. I'm bearish on US dollar Swiss franc, and I'm also bearish on US dollar Japanese yen. I see US dollar weakness at the moment. You could also look at the potential for more strength on the euro as well, which is breaking out to the upside in line with the strength that we're seeing on gold right now. The US dollar is rolling over. So for me, for Monday at the moment, I'm looking at a continuation of this momentum. So overall, I quite like the weakness that we're seeing in the US dollar right now, looking to take advantage of that. I'm also looking at oil here around this zone, so we can really take it lower time frame just to see what's going on with oil here, and just put it onto another chart here as well. You'll see where oil has a number of times it's found support just around this key level, which is around 51.80 to about 51.50. So I want to see whether it will springboard off these zones of support. So I'm watching out for that. In fact, we can just have a look at the daily pivots. Let's just put it on the 30-minute time frame and see where we're getting movement at the moment. You see the US dollar CAD is starting to roll over and pull back. US dollar Swiss franc as well. Yeah, it's still looking quite weak towards the lower end of the range. US dollar Japanese yen. US dollar euro US dollar is looking quite strong still. US dollar Japanese yen, I see the potential for that to roll over further. I mean, those are really the main ones that we're wanting to trade today and keep an eye on for the time being. But again, just make it really simple for yourself. Look at the higher time frames. Look at what's going on the weekly chart here. Overall dollar weakness. Euro is looking quite strong at the moment. Awaiting better trade setups on Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, the pound, and also just watching oil very closely, lower time frame at the moment to see where the support may come into those. But certainly we've got a few trade setups which are running at the moment. and we'll catch you back here certainly over the course of this week for additional webinars. And of course, the update on Friday will be coming to you post non-farm payroll for the Commodities Corner session 2. If you do want to be kept updated real time, so you do actually want access to the trade alerts that we're taking, you want to join the exclusive webinars during the week as well at the Gold and Silver Club, and you want access to the trading research, market insights, you want to get your logins to the Private Members Academy website, and you want access to support and mentoring, the link is essentially www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. So if you complete that link, fill in the application, we will get in touch with you ASAP. So that is the link, www.jointhelivetradingroom.com. And again, if you just want to be kept updated as well and go through the forecast in more detail, go across to our YouTube channel. The link's just there in the chat where you can watch the latest report that we've put out too. Okay, so with that, guys, I wish you good trading. Thanks very much to Sharice and the team at binary.com for putting on today's session. We'll catch you back here for the next webinar, and I wish you a great day. Okay, thanks everyone. Take care. All the best, and of course, good trading. Bye for now.